Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan, and today we're going to take a look at this. This is the Masters of the Universe and VeeFriends collaboration that was exclusive to Mattel Creations. And I'll be perfectly honest, until it showed up, I completely forgot that I ordered this. And I really think that says something for the state of toy collecting with all of these endless pre-orders that we're all doing these days. And then, you know, we forget about them because it takes so long for these things to ship. Especially, I guess, because Eternia is starting to ship right now. So when I got a ship notice, I was just anticipating Eternia. And then it turned out to be this. And I was like, oh yeah, I completely forgot. So Mattel Creations has done a few of these collaborations at this point. To be perfectly honest, I myself am not familiar with Gary Vee or the VeeFriends brand. But I did still think this looked like a fun set. However, the biggest draw for me personally was the Cartoon Collection Skeletor that's included in here, because he's got extra heads and hands that I wanted, that the retail version doesn't have. So it's one of those things where it's like, did I buy this just because I wanted extra heads? Did I buy this because I'm a completionist with Masterse? A little bit of both of those things. But honestly, like, I'm curious to know if, like, any fans of the VeeFriends brand saw this and got excited and bought it. And to be honest, like, with these collaborations, I know Mattel Creations has done a lot of collabs with different artists, and they're not always for me. But I also don't feel like I can, like, talk down on a collaboration with an artist, because I think it's cool when an artist gets to do something fun like this and kind of get a little bit of a spotlight. So, you know, the fact that Mattel does that as a boutique release, it's not like they're not keeping characters away from us that we want that should be in the main retail line. They're just doing this sort of thing. I don't know. It is what it is, right? But let's take a look at the box here, because if one thing Mattel does really well with their exclusives, it's these packages. Like, they do an amazing job with their packaging. So on the box here, you can see we've got Skeletor and our VeeFriend character, which, if we look at the top, we actually have bios for both of them. So this little guy is called Skilled Skeleton, the bony bro that radiates the power of friendship. He does not seem like the type of guy that would actually be somebody that Skeletor likes. He doesn't like to be nice. He likes to be evil. Here's the back of the box. Fun stuff with the Havoc staff. Both of them split. So the box has got this really neat feature where you actually kind of pull the sides out. And look at that. It reveals on the back of it there. We got some artwork with Skeletor and Skilled Skeleton kind of hanging out together. Gorgeous artwork, by the way. Like, the art is fantastic on this box. And then here's our window. Man, seriously, the packaging is amazing. Like, look at the foreground artwork on the bubble here. That is so cool. And then there's our Skeletor inside. There's our Skilled Skeleton, the companion of kindness. Even the top here has got some fun stuff. That's amazing. Look at the land shark. That's great. But look at that. Also, I just found out that those just come right out of there. Ooh, look at the background. That's slick. I like that a lot. I mean, it's got a very, like, filmation-y vibe with that background. It almost kind of reminds you of, like, the animation cells, the backgrounds. That's pretty sweet. So then the figures here, look at that. They just kind of slide right out. So this is cool because this is collector-friendly packaging. We do have ties, so we're going to have to cut the ties to get the figures out of here. There's those extra faces that I was talking about. But after you cut the ties, like, if you want, you can put these guys right back in the packaging. So that is pretty cool. And the other thing that this comes with is its own exclusive mini comic. Friendship is Havoc. And look at that. I mean, it's a full-on new mini comic. So I guess if you're collecting Origins and you feel like you need all of the mini comics, this has got an exclusive mini comic. So might be worth checking out for that. In this mini comic, Skilled Skeleton does show up. He's a very goofy character. Look, he says, "My name is Skilled Skeleton. You're my new best friend. Ack, get it off, get it off." And it's kind of just silly and goofy like that all the way through. So I don't know. It's all meant for fun, I suppose. So these are, I don't know, these look fun. let's go ahead and pull them out of that blister bubble and we'll take a closer look at the figures. I especially want to compare this to the retail version of Skeletor to see how he differentiates. I can already see that metallic purple on there. All right, so we've got Skilled Skeleton and Skeletor outside of the packaging. This is a good way for you guys to see the scale between these two figures. Skilled Skeleton, the VeeFriend, is at about 4 inches, while of course Skeletor stands right at the 6-inch mark, fitting right in with the Cartoon Collection Figures. We'll go ahead and move Skeletor off to the side for a moment because I do want to go ahead and focus on Skilled Skeleton. He is obviously a completely different form factor and style than we're typically used to seeing in the Origins line, and that's because he is based on a different line entirely, being the VeeFriends. But it's worth noting that he is still very much built in the style of Mattel's Masters of the Universe Origins figures, because a lot of these parts are sharing some of the same peg sizes. He's got an oversized head, still on a ball joint, so it's fully articulated, and worth noting that you can pop this head off the ball joint. You'll see that he's got this very metallic Skeletor style armor, though it is different than what we'd see on Skeletor there. You can see it is designed to be on this really long, skinny neck peg there. So it's not going to really fit on a Masters of the Universe figure. It's certainly sized for this little body right here. And then the body is just, you know, it's very stylized. It's got a very cool rounded kind of bone look. The hands here are also interchangeable. Worth noting that the pegs on the hands also appear to be the exact same peg size as the normal hands in Masters of the Universe Origins. So if you want to swap those, you can. Now on the figure out of the box, he's got some gripping hands, but he's got a bunch of interchangeable hands here. So you can see we've got the rock and roll pose there, and then it also looks like we just have some open hands. So if you want to swap any of those on and off, you can do that pretty easy just by pulling the hands out of socket like you would on a standard Masters of the Universe figure. You can see we do still have the same kind of articulation with the shoulders going up and down, forwards and backwards. Doesn't really look like we have anything at the elbow. This is just the way that the arm is sculpted, but then we can swivel at the wrist, and we've got the hinge joints at the wrist there. The body just turns at the waist there, and then the legs, they're very short and stubby, but you can see they move forwards, backwards, they go outwards, and then you've got the feet, which have the hinges on the ankles, and they do also have the little rockers on the ankles there as well. So obviously you see I pulled off Skilled Skeleton's head there, specifically because I wanted to show you guys that ball joint, which is pretty fun, because if you really want to do so, we can swap parts between these figures. So if we want to pop Skeletor's head off and put it on this tiny little body, you can do it, and it's hilarious. But even better than that, if you want to put the oversized, what looks like a mascot head, it looks like now I've created like a Skeletor mascot. So we can fit that on a standard Masters of the Universe Origins body, and the results are hilarious. Like, it's so funny that we can do this. Here, just to show you this too, let me pop off Skeletor's hand. If we want to put the tiny little VeeFriend hand on there, it's ridiculous. But it's totally doable. You can do it if you want to. So one more feature with Skilled Skeleton is that he is actually molded in glow-in-the-dark plastic, which is always awesome. So all of the yellow parts here is glow-in-the-dark plastic. Get him under a nice bright light. Turn off those lights. He glows pretty well. He's a fun little toy for what he is. Obviously, your excitement for him is going to vary depending on what type of stuff you like to collect, but he is a fun, really well done figure. So that's going to bring me over here to this new version of Skeletor, which as a MOTU collector, this is what really interested me in this pack, and mostly it's because this is a new version, our first variant of the Cartoon Collector Skeletor. So I was curious to see how he differs from the standard retail release, which is the one I am now standing off to the left here. The biggest difference, of course, is the paint deco. The skin tone itself seems to be the same color blue. It might be a tad more vibrant on this new one from the 2-pack, but the biggest difference is the armor, because the armor is now molded in a deeper purple that is also metallic. It's got this really cool like glitter effect to it. I don't know if that's coming across on video, but it's very sparkly and it looks really cool. You can see it's on the boots, it's on the belt piece, it's on the chest armor, as well as the hood. So those are the big differences as far as the look goes. Otherwise, the figure is the same. He also comes with the exact same Havoc staff as the retail release and the exact same sword as the retail release. But again, just like with all the rest of the purple on here, the colors are that more metallic, so they really stand out as something different from that retail release. Now, we've got a couple of other fun little bonuses with this figure. First of all, we've got this funny little necklace here. This is like a VeeFriends necklace, so you can see it's like a crossbones. It's got the VF on there. It is just molded in this silvery plastic. It's got a plastic chain, but this is meant to go around Skeletor's neck. Pop the head off, it's the easiest to put it on there. So now he's rocking this VeeFriends necklace. It's really silly, but if you like it, you could do it. It does fit right over his head too. But also he's got a couple of interchangeable hands. So, first of all, we can pop off his normal gripping hand over here, and we can add on his own version of a rock fist. Look at that. That's actually pretty fun. I like that quite a bit. Is this maybe like, yeah, this is the rock fist, right? Yeah, I love that. That is so cool. And then, this is even goofier. We've got these other hands that at first glance just look like they are also gripping hands, but the fingers are a bit more curled, and that's because these are meant to come together so that Skeletor is forming a heart with his fingers. Let me see if I can get a good pose on that there. But that's basically what that is meant to be. Skeletor forming a heart, because I guess he loves his new little best friend, Skilled Skeleton. I don't know. I don't like to be nice. I want to be evil, right? But you know what? They don't even look like that, obviously, when he's just in a normal pose. You actually need to put them up to make it look like that heart shape. But the thing that is the most fun with this figure is the fact that he comes with these interchangeable face plates. One of them has got a bit more of a smile, and one of them's got that open, scared look. Now, both of these look as though they came straight out of Filmation. We've seen Skeletor smile like this before, especially that quote I keep quoting from the Christmas special where he doesn't want to be nice. But also we've seen him get scared like this too. These are awesome, and these were the things that I was most excited for. And the way that these work on this figure is the face itself can just unplug. You can kind of got a grip underneath the chin, and then look at that. It just pops off. There's like this little peg right here. Also, look at the way that they molded the inside of the hood where it plugs in. It actually looks like a little skull with an open mouth. How wild is that? That's crazy. But if we want to put on one of these new face plates, you just kind of press it right there, lock it in place, and we've got a completely different look for our Skeletor. I love it. So we've got that happy face there, and then we can pop that back off, and if we want to, we can pop on the scared, screaming face, which is awesome. I think it is so fun. Now, here's what I was really curious about. Will these work with that retail release of Skeletor? Because the good thing is that the skin tone, or the bone tone, I guess, the yellow, does appear to be the same color. So it's not like they changed the color of the skull, which is great. So I wanted to see if we could put some of these new faces on the retail release. Because in my opinion, there's no way that they would have changed this head sculpt, right? Like, it's probably exactly the same underneath there. That way it's not just fully new tooling. So I went on and I tried to take the face off the retail release, and unfortunately, this does not come off with ease. And I started kind of peeling it up underneath the chin here, and I can see what looks to be glue residue under there. So I do think it's probably the same, but I think they glued it on in place. So I don't think there's a way to really change these, at least not easily. It's not meant to be changed. If a customizer wants to get in there and like pry this face off without tearing up any of this plastic or bending it too much. Maybe it can be cleaned out and maybe it would work. I'm not entirely sure. I'd be curious to know if that's the case. But I'm bummed by this. I really think this is a missed opportunity. They should have left this interchangeable, just like all the other interchangeable parts on the retail release, so that we could have swapped these out, so that maybe they could have included these in a future retail wave. I don't know. I'm just a little bit bummed that I can't use them with my standard retail version of Skeletor, since his colors are a bit more accurate to the animated series. However, it is still a really fun feature on this new version. So there you go, my friends. There is a look at the brand new Skeletor and Skilled Skeleton VeeFriends 2-pack from Mattel Creations. This is a really wacky set. In fact, I would rank this up there with things like the Skeletor and Molar 2-pack from the Masters of the Universe Classics line. It's totally got the same kind of vibes as that set. And look, at the end of the day, I really don't mind collaboration stuff like this because it's exclusive, it is niche, it's not something that I feel like people need to have in their collections if they don't want it, but it's still really nicely done. These are still fun toys at the end of the day. So it's just up to you, I guess, of what kind of value this would add to your personal collection. Now, these were exclusive to Mattel Creations, as I stated, so if you missed out on that pre-order, that was probably going to be the only chance to get it, unless you're going to want to pick these up on the aftermarket. Thank you guys so very much for watching this video. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of this set. Don't forget to hit that like button. And until next time, my friends.